good, Chad? How everybody feeling? Appreciate you guys popping out this morning, talking some Avengers again as usual. Shout out to everybody in the chat so far. We got Bonita, we got Slip. Shout out to Slipshock TV, one of my good friends from the Avengers community. We got Jordan, Rule Neptune, Daniel, the AG, Aaron Bess, Orlando, Terrence. How's everybody feeling this morning? We got good news and I guess ambiguous news about Avengers this morning because they still haven't made an official statement about the official future of the game, but I don't necessarily take that as a negative. I think it's complicated. That's the best answer I can give. Fly guy, appreciate the sub, and shout out to Cookie Bunny for subbing 2 minutes ago. What's up, some guy? How you feeling? Yeah, guys, we are getting rolling. As you can see over here, we are happy to announce the completion of the acquisition of Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and soon to be renamed Square Enix Montreal. The companies will form the 12th operative group under the leadership of Phil Rogers. A warm welcome to all new colleagues from Embracer Group. So the deal is officially done, and hopefully that means we'll get to see more news about it and what that means for Avengers specifically. But basically, it seems like the consensus over at Crystal Dynamics is it's business as usual. So they're still working on rolling out new content. Goog Bangin', what's up, bro? Appreciate it. Appreciate the love, man. What's up, Vermont? Chris Rogers, appreciate you guys. Robert Huff hopping in the chat. Kiki, what's up, Kiki? What a great way to enjoy my wake and bake. Hey, get it in. One shot, one kill. What's up? Again, appreciate you guys popping through, hanging out this morning. Just, like I said, wanted to kind of touch base, talk about, the news and what this means for the game's future, because there's a lot of assumptions and like narratives being formed around the lack of Avengers being specifically listed in this news. So like if you go over here to the official website, they talk about what they acquired in the deal. So they complete acquisition of Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, amongst other assets, and then they list some of those assets here down below. So it says on May 2nd, 2022, Embracer Group entered into an agreement to acquire the development studios Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and a catalog of IPs including Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, and more than 50 back catalog games from Square Enix Holdings Ltd. So, Bloody Reckless, what's up, bro? I was just thinking about you, man. You've been in the shadows, bro. You got to pop out a bit more. Scott Dawson, Braden Mine, what's up, bro? But yeah, these IPs that they listed. So Tomb Raider, of course, is coming with the acquisition of Crystal Dynamics. You got Deus Ex, you have Thief, you have Legacy of Kain. Embracer Group now officially owns all of those IPs, which is why they're listed there. The reason that something like Avengers would not be listed in the group of IPs that they recently acquired is because the studio or the publishing company will never acquire the rights to the IP of Avengers, which falls under Marvel. So they're never going to own Marvel. So something like that wouldn't be listed in things that they recently purchased because they never purchased Avengers specifically. They have to go into a licensing agreement with Marvel or Marvel Games specifically to get the rights to produce games around Marvel content, which Avengers would fall under that category or that umbrella. Only thing left to do is announce a shutdown. If that's what you're waiting for, you're going to be waiting a while. This was tweeted by CD less than 24 hours before the Embracer confirmation message. Will do, bro. We'll catch up. This is considered good news for gaming in general or bad news for Avengers. It's good news for Crystal Dynamics because now they're no longer under Square Enix leadership. And, from what we've heard and what we saw, Square Enix never really believed in the project that much to begin with, and they definitely didn't give them, the tools needed to succeed. So now that they're under Embracer, they're given a little more autonomy over the project. So they put more faith in the leadership in place, and with people like Brian in charge of the team, I feel like the team has a lot more room to thrive. They've been given the okay to make different hirings. So you're seeing, I think they just posted a new position yesterday for a senior art director, I believe. So they're still expanding the team. So the the small team working on the dying game narrative is going to kind of fade away, or is going to have to at some point. But what's up, Little Donut, and what's up, Big Boss? But yeah, you're looking at the update right now, Big Boss. So the news right now is that the deal is officially done. So Embracer Group has officially acquired the rights to Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix, and the IPs that all of those companies and studios owned. That boy, dude, what's up, bro? But yeah, so when you hear that, oh well, they didn't have Avengers listed specifically, that's something completely separate. That's I don't know why people keep looking to this deal specifically for news about Avengers when that would be a separate entity. Like that's a different agreement. That licensing agreement is not included in the acquisitions that they made from Square Enix. So they're not going to do any listing of that here. But that's not indicative of the game dying or the deal falling through, or there being an issue with acquiring a new licensing agreement. None of that. You're not going to get anything of that nature from this. That's not what this is about. That's not what the quarterly report was about that we just got for quarter one from Embracer Group. None of that is about any of that. So, again, the idea that this information is indicative of anything surrounding Avengers outside of the studio that is currently producing Avengers is now under a different publisher. That's the only tie-in you can get from this. Do I think this will be mentioned at D23? That would actually be amazing if they did like have some kind of presentation prepared, but I don't know. Like I said, honestly, we just don't know, and that's just because you don't know anything specifically doesn't mean you have to fill in the gaps with just random conclusions and narratives. Because they're trying to play dumb, they just don't want to have an excuse to just say it's dying. Well, okay, so everybody's under the impression that 2.7, which is going to bring Cloning Lab and Bucky to the game, is coming later this year, meaning post September. So if you think the game is dying, why are you waiting around for content that's basically not going to come? They're working on content as we speak. They've been working on content all year. You don't spend a year reworking the game, making it better and more suitable for newer players, putting things in place like being made quote unquote free to play on PlayStation Plus new tiers list to draw in new players for a game that's just about to die. If the game was dying or the plan was to get out because the game is dying, you're not bringing on new personnel for this game specifically. They're not just hiring new people at Crystal Dynamics. They're hiring people specifically for Marvel's Avengers. So you don't expand the team just so the game can die. That doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no logic in that. What's up, Melody? What's up, Herald of Thunder? Appreciate you guys coming through. What's up, Jared? Whatever you missed, and what's up, Ronnie? So the deal is officially complete. The Embracer Group has officially acquired Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix, and multiple IPs that were under all of those studios. And I was just saying that, this Fate Walker with the gifted subs, gifted memberships, this is not Twitch. Shout out to Fate Walker, man. That dude is just insane. Appreciate you coming through, Fate, man. I think I do have a command for that. I always forget I have commands for you guys. But yeah, you guys, it's not everything doesn't have to be a doom and gloom scenario. That's all I'm saying. And we don't know much about what's going on behind the scenes. What's up, Feedy? And what's up, DeAndre? What's up, Dread? How you guys doing? As far as we know, the conclusions that we can draw based on what we know, based on the information that's available to us, is that Crystal Dynamics is functioning as business as usual. They are planning for the future well beyond 2022 and deep into 2023. And they have been given the tools necessary and the resources necessary. Bro, LOTR Defender, appreciate you becoming a member and an Avenger. That just threw me off, but appreciate that, bro. Definitely appreciate you guys supporting. But yeah, guys, if you turn on well, that is a whole thing. You have to turn on your settings on YouTube to be able to receive gifted memberships. Appreciate you pointing that out, Fate. Did I talk about Scarlet Witch? We can talk about that right now, actually. So again, the studio has plans for bigger heroes going forward. They know you want Captain Marvel. They've always had plans to release Captain Marvel. If you follow Miller, he shared different assets from behind the scenes that suggest that Captain Marvel is being worked on and is planned for the game. You have dialogue from different characters in the game addressing Carol Danvers, as well as She-Hulk, as well as Winter Soldier. And you have artwork for these characters. You have, there's things in place that suggest that she's been a part of the plans from day one, as well as being a part of that list of data mine heroes that we got way back when. What's up, Mark? How you feeling? Good morning to you. And what's up, Winter Soldier and Tyson and Patrick? But yes, they like the lead developer is Brian Wagner. He stated multiple times that they know who we want to see in the game. They know who players want to play with in this game, and now they're getting to a position where they'll be able to bring those kind of heroes to the game. That's the focus. That was the vision for this year. So we have to make the game something that people will come and be able to play and want to stick around for a while. And that's going to be a slow process. So they started by streamlining the onboarding process, which isn't perfect, but you get interaction with Nick Fury. He talks a bit about the Kree invasion coming, and then he kind of funnels new players along the different missions to help them level up and get gear and everything. And then 2.4, they brought the reworked events, which is something that the game definitely needed because for the longest time the events really didn't serve any real purpose. Especially if you were a veteran player who's been playing since day one. What's up, Nagita? They have to set up the story to take us many places in Avengers. Exactly. And that's a big focus going forward, which is why Brian himself is now working hand in hand with the narrative team to bring more story-focused content to the end game of Avengers. So instead of doing separate campaigns and operations, they're going to do the story in the actual mission content that they're releasing in the future, like Cloning Labs and the AIM Island Warzone. So you have a lot that you can do with the game going forward. There's still so much potential with the game, and they're trying to capitalize on that. The game was not launched in the right state. The initial development team did not have the best vision for the game, which is why so much of the game was wrong at launch. And now the new development team that has been hired on since the game launched, they have to take steps to correct the ship. So you can't just get in, slap a new paint job on the car unless you fix the stuff that's wrong under the hood. So if we put the wrong engine in there, we put the wrong parts in there, we got to get that fixed. I'm paraphrasing and I'm being metaphorical because the engine itself for the game is not something they can change as it is. If you wanted to see a new engine come to this game, they would definitely need a sequel. And to get to a place where they can effectively launch a sequel, you have to change people's opinions of the game you have right now, which is still alive. It's a live service game. They're still working and developing it, so you can do that, but you have to do it right. And that's what this new leadership is allowing them to do. That's the beauty of this deal. Embracer, if you look up and look into the company, every studio that they acquire, they give them the freedom to actualize the vision that they have for the games that they're working on. So if you have an idea, you have a pitch for them, and Embracer believes in that, they'll give you the resources needed and then from there you can make your dreams, or not your dreams, that's that sounds too big, but you can make your vision a reality. So if you need more resources on the game, you can get that because they're giving you the funding. If you need money to outsource different things, that you can do that now because they're giving you the funding. So that's the beauty of Embracer now being in charge of publishing for the game. And shout out to everybody who's just popping in the chat. And if you guys can, make sure you slap a like on the video to help YouTube kind of push it out a bit. And to everybody who's just hopping in, good morning, and appreciate you guys coming through. Who's my man in Avengers? Right now it's Thor. What's up, Jorge? How you doing? I'm good, bro. How many years do you think they will have to redeem itself by the community and Embracer? I feel like next year they have to kind of swing for the fences a bit, because year 2 was clearly geared towards just reworking different systems and designs for the game to make it more in line with what it should have been at launch. So it's like, I understand how people view year 2, especially with the only heroes we're getting is Echo character and Jane Foster and the Winter Soldier, who isn't the biggest Avenger. He isn't the biggest name draw. So again, if I'm in charge or if I'm a part of the development team, I may not push for the Winter Soldier. Yeah, it made more sense to do She-Hulk, but if I know this is the only hero we're going to get out for the game and we're comfortable not doing She-Hulk, we're doing somebody big. So we're squeezing Doctor Strange or somebody into the game just to end the year off on a big note and kind of set expectations for the next year that, hey, we're going to be delivering more heroes, more content. We got the rework stuff out of the way, so bear with us, but next year is going to be banging. That would be my pitch for 2023. And again, I love Winter Soldier, and I'm definitely happy that he kind of skipped the line a bit, because that means we get him that much sooner. But again, it just, they could have did bigger, but again, Bucky's must really be tied into the narrative for Cloning Labs and AIM Island. So I feel like that's the reason they chose to go with him as the hero to end the year with the big end of the year content in Cloning Lab. War Machine must come. I'm confident if we're still getting a steady flow of heroes, he's definitely going to be popping up. My man is Iron Man, and we need War Machine like yesterday. We need a lot of stuff like yesterday. Iron Man is getting stale. Well, Iron Man is going to be getting some buffs soon, so hopefully that, sparks gives them a new spark for you, I guess. I haven't been focusing on Marvel's Avengers. I've been playing a different game, and that's exactly what you should do when you're getting bored with the game. The game is going to be there. They're going to be bringing out new content and everything, so you can come back to the game anytime. How can I pitch to Embracer? Email them. You pick up their email and shoot them a shot. Objectively, CD is behind the gun, so we will see mid-2023 if Embracer cash flow this game. You've been seeing cash flow from Embracer this whole year. X-Men, that's a pipe dream at this point. I feel like you gotta check off a lot of boxes before you get X-Men in this game, and right now they are not focused on that. For the flying heroes, it would be awesome if they could go as high as the AIM Tower. Yeah, I don't think they plan on raising the ceiling. I feel like that would cause issues within the engine itself. And again, another thing you have to take into account is this game is balancing a lot of plates. You get what I'm saying? Like as you see with games like Gotham Knights and Midnight Suns, a lot of games are dropping old gen support because it's getting harder to develop across both platforms, across both new gen or current gen and last gen. And it's giving developers a headache, and it's creating nightmares behind the scenes. Like if you talk to the developers for Avengers, they'll tell you trying to make things work on both old gen and current gen has been a nightmare, but they've been doing it. Because they know that such a large part of the player base is still on old gen. So they're not cutting you off, and frankly, they're not in a position to cut you off, but they're making it work. Where other studios are, avoiding that battle altogether, they are still working with that. So it's like, give them some credit with where it's due, because they could. It would hurt the game, but it would be better for the game's long-term future if they went strictly with current gen. But again, I don't see them doing that anytime soon. Until characters are announced, any character they are working on can be canceled slash released. Exactly, like that's the thing about data mine info. So we know that they were working on War Machine because that information was shared, but that's not an official statement or an official promise that War Machine is coming to the game. Because one, they clearly stopped developing him to focus development on other people and other heroes and other things. Can they revisit that? Yes, but nowhere did they make an official statement that, hey, these heroes are coming. They don't announce heroes until they're specifically coming as the next hero coming to the game. So there's a difference between, getting inside information from data mine leaks and actual official statements from the company itself. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with discerning between those two things. I'm at the third contracted game. I'm lost on that. Yeah, nothing wrong with taking a break. This literally is what the game is designed. Like, this game isn't designed to play every day, all day, and I feel like that's why a lot of people are mad, because they want to be able to hop into this game every day, and you have the option to, but the mission design isn't the best, which is why I think something like patrol mode could help kind of improve on that, because a patrol mode where you have the freedom to run around, fight enemies, collect gear, open loot boxes and things like that, you it's kind of heading in the direction a lot of people will want the game to be. And then if they can get the right villains in there, where they've said that they don't plan on introducing villains like Taskmaster and Maestro and villains we've been fighting this whole time into the patrol mode, they're going to introduce new villains, which is why they've been hiring people specifically for that. Dane O'Leary with the sub, appreciate that. Thank you so much for becoming an Avenger. And make sure you guys are leaving likes if you are hopping into the stream. I definitely appreciate it, and it definitely helps. But yeah, if you get something like a patrol mode that people can enjoy, and it's not buggy, it's not broken, and it has join in progress, that gives people something they can do every day. It's not time gated. I don't know what kind of restraints they could or would put on it, but if you just let it be a free mode that players can enjoy with their friends day in and day out, and constantly improve on it and add to it, or add different patrol modes for different biomes, I feel like that's a big step in the right direction. And the only thing you can do better than that is deliver a better raid and a horde mode, just something that allows players to fight waves of enemies. If they can figure out something like that in year 3, this game has a very bright future. When will that come out? Let me see. Let me catch up, because I'm lost on the X-Men talk. What's up, Lawrence? Appreciate you just popping in. Just going over the Embrace the deal being finalized. Like I said, it's good news for the studio itself. But if you're looking in here for any kind of insight into the Avengers licensing agreement with Marvel, you're not going to find that, because it's not a part of this. This is strictly about the studios and IPs that Embracer Group has purchased themselves. So they're not purchasing Avengers, they're just purchasing a licensing agreement to develop Avengers or produce Avengers. So we have basically been playing a beta, if that's what you want to call it. It's a work in progress. That's with it being a live service game, it's constantly changing. Like, if you look at games like GTA Online, if you look at that game now versus what it was when it launched back in 2013, completely different game, completely different stuff going on, completely different missions, and it's just been evolving as it's been going along. And listen to what I just said, that game came out in 2013, and you can log in and play that right now in 2022. We don't know when GTA 6 is coming. There's no official date for that or anything, but you can still play GTA Online right now. And a lot of people are still choosing to do that. They've released new content for that, and that's the beauty of a live service game. Xenoverse 2, another live service game where they're constantly adding to it. They're adding new characters, they're adding new raids and missions you can do and things like that. And it's a different game than what you bought day one a few years ago. And that's what this Avengers itself is completely different now than what it was 2 years ago. So September 2020, looks a lot different than September 2022. The design, the everything about the game looks a lot different. Just so they're improving, they're changing. The game is just trying to fit with what players want going forward, and that's what the focus of content like Cloning Lab and Patrol Mode being held back was for. They knew it didn't fit their long-term vision, and it was conceived without a long-term vision. And when Brian came to the team, he let them know specifically, like, we cannot release this kind of stuff in this state and expect this game to do well. So we have to pull this back. I know it's going to make us look goofy in the short term because, hey, it looks like we don't know what we're doing. Well, plot twist, we don't know what we're doing. So let's get a vision in place for what we want the game to be, and we'll actualize that in the next year going forward, which is why you're seeing Patrol Mode and Cloning Labs becoming on the docket now. Our patience for this game may finally pay off. I would hope so. Again, like you sticking around with this game, I definitely feel like we are in deserving of a bone, but I also understand that so much of this year has had to go towards focusing on bringing in newer players, because veteran players, you're getting burned out on the game. You're burned out with the mission content. You're burned out with the lack of new heroes and on the lack of exciting news around the game. So you're putting the game down for long stretches, and if that's the sole player base, your game is not going to have a long-term future. But after deals like Game Pass and the PlayStation Plus tiers, now you're bringing in new players who have new content to look forward to and a ton of content in the game itself to enjoy. Like Day 1 2020 is a lot different than Day 1 2022. You have a lot of missions you can do. You have raids now. You have OLTs. You got different bosses. You got several campaigns and operations you can play through. There's a lot to do in the game now if you're just coming in as a day one player versus 2020 where you were waiting for a lot of this stuff to even come to the game. That's all I'm saying. So the game, just recognize that the game is changing, and now that they're under a different publisher, it can change even more because there's not so many obstacles in place that's holding the game back, because the studio or the publisher behind the studio isn't believing in the project or the vision for the game long term. So instead of resources being withheld, resources are being shared to allow the team to get what they need. So if they need to outsource something, now they are able to do that. If they need to bring on new people to fill specific roles, they now can do that. They weren't hiring people last year. This time last year, they were not making new hires. If somebody left the project, they're gone, and whatever work and role they had, that role would now be brought on to someone else. So now someone's wearing two hats instead of one, which means if you're doing double the work, that means your work day is harder than it was, prior to that. And that's not easy, especially if you already were wearing multiple hats to begin with. So now you can bring on assistant designers, assistant, art directors and things like that to kind of, spread out the workload and get things done. Apex Gaming with the sub, appreciate it. But yeah, guys, there is no bad news in this. This deal completing is only good news for the game. In general. So the studio behind the game is now under a better publisher. That's the good news from this. That's the positive takeaway from this. If you want to look at it with doom and gloom, you're going to do that regardless of whatever information I share or whatever information they share, because you're just looking for the game to die, or you're looking for bad news, or you're looking for the worst case scenario in every aspect of news surrounding the game. I can't change that, and I'm not fighting to change that. I'm just telling you I'm objective. I don't have any skin in this game. Avengers! Laranade, I'm gonna say it, Laranade. Appreciate you becoming a subscriber. But yeah, I'm just somebody who really loves the game. I enjoy playing the game. But if the game dies for whatever reason, the game dies. Like, I'm not rooting for that, and I'm not campaigning for that, and I'm definitely not selling that narrative around the internet, because I have nothing to support that. The people who are spinning that narrative, they don't have anything to support that. That's all I've been saying. There's nothing to support any of these claims. That's it. That's the big takeaway from this. There is nothing to support any of those claims. You have the information that we have and that we're getting is only about the Embracer Group acquiring these studios and their IPs. The Avengers, that's a separate issue. That is a separate deal. That's a separate thing. Not that that means it's lack of inclusion in this list means that it's dying or that deal is somehow in danger. They're working on the game now. If the ship was sinking and the floor was falling over there, they could easily just shut down Avengers and move all of those developers over to Tomb Raider and Perfect Dark and whatever else they're working on over there, because there's no future for Avengers. But they just released news about the future for Avengers. You have new content. You have a new hero coming before this year ends. They've been working on this game all year. They're still working on the game. Brian Wagner and everybody else over at Crystal Dynamics that's specifically working on Avengers, when they punched in this morning, they punched in to work on Avengers. The people who just got hired for Avengers are working on Avengers. The game isn't going anywhere until it goes away. If it goes away, you'll either find out the hard way, or by logging into the game and nothing is happening for you, or you'll get an official announcement. But is that something that's coming soon, or is this news indicative of that? No. That's all I'm saying. The people who are spreading narratives about the game dying can't tell you how many players actively play this game because they don't have access to that information. They can't tell you how long this deal has been in place because when it was announced, it's not when the deal started. But they can't tell you that because they don't have access to that information. So the conclusions they're trying to draw and the loops of logic they're trying to spin aren't supported by anything because you're on the outside looking in, spinning narratives. What we know definitively is Embracer Group is a better publishing company for American and Western games than Square Enix is, just based on how they handle those companies. Who is the most toxic YouTuber for this game? That is for you to decide. That is not my concern. I don't get anything from that. And the people I interact with for this game are some of the dopest people I've ever met. Yeah, I'll be there to the end. I'm an Avengers nut. Robots or not, it's good to be a Hulk. Bro, this, like I said, the game is fun. If this game was as terrible as the narrative around it suggests, none of us would be here. No one would be here. No one would be still hanging around this game that's just so bad, that's so buggy, so unplayable. All of these things is just, it doesn't make sense. Nobody would still be here. There's a ton of other games. You would be playing 2K or an online game or GTA, or you'd be on Saints Row right now. It just doesn't make sense. If you hated this game, if this game was trash, we wouldn't be here. We would literally be going and living our lives somewhere else and playing something else. And you're free to do that. Like Gotham Knights is coming out in October. And when Bucky drops in late November, the people who are now done with Gotham Knights, because Gotham Knights isn't a live service game, so once you beat it, that's it. You can still play it. You can go back and play with all the other heroes if you want and all of that stuff, but once you beat the game, that's the game. Just like with Guardians of the Galaxy. When you beat the game, you can enjoy it. It's a wonderful game, just like Marvel's Spider-Man. It's a wonderful game. But once you beat it, the game is the game. You don't get a new experience when you go back and play it again outside of having some of the abilities already unlocked. That's it. You're not getting a new story. You're not getting new characters introduced. You're not getting new villains to fight. The game is the game. So once you're done playing Gotham Knights, Avengers is still going to be here. And guess what? They're going to have a new hero and new content coming out for you. And whatever games come out beyond that, you're still going to have Avengers on the back end because they have new content planned. They're working on two new heroes. They have 2 new heroes and paper designs, and that's just what we know about. That's just what they've teased publicly. They don't like to broadcast what they're working on. I wish they did. I think teasing more of what they have planned in the pipeline would do a lot for this game. Go funk yourself with the sub. Appreciate you sharing the funk, bro. But again, if they could share a bit more of what they have in the pipeline publicly, that would be great for the game. I understand why they can't, because Marvel wants to handle things a certain way, the publishers handle things a certain way. So it's like, I understand there's different limitations and there's different ways about branding the game. But I also appreciate the fact that Miller does share what's in the pipeline for the game, because that specifically has kept a lot of people interested in the game's future, because they know that certain things are being worked on. We're not guaranteed that any of that will come to the game, but it is good to know that they are coming, that they are working on these things. So that's enough. That's just play the game while you can play the game. Appreciate the game for while you can. And if it dies, it dies, and appreciate the fact that you got 2 years out of an Avengers game, or 3 years, or whatever amount of time that you got out of it. You had fun with it. You had some fun with the game. If this game was a total negative experience, we would leave. We would just leave. We would put the game down. My channel would be dedicated to something else specifically, but you get what I'm saying? We will move on. Life goes on. Miller is the roadmap. Miller is the truth. Like I said, Miller, again, I understand the developers not liking or appreciating what he's doing, because he's sharing information outside of the game, but at the same time, he's done a lot for this game and for this community by sharing what's coming next. Because again, if we don't know that Bucky's coming next, and Miller doesn't share that, and Miller doesn't share that Jane Foster is coming to the game, a lot of people are gone and they're not around for when Crystal Dynamics does make an official announcement about what's coming next. Word doesn't travel as fast or as far, because no one's covering the game. No one is sticking around to check for this game. And I don't think they understand that as well as they think they do. And hopefully that can change in the future. Hopefully this new publisher gives them a little more leeway or something. I don't know. But I feel like Miller is like the the other side of the coin that this game has desperately needed to function as it does. Exactly. Like, imagine this year without Miller. Imagine this year without Miller teasing there's a mystery hero, which he's already teased that he knows about another mystery hero they're working on post Captain Marvel. He hasn't gone full forward with that story, but he has teased that there is something in the works. And I believe that's something outside of the two new heroes they're designing right now. So that's three new heroes they're potentially working on. And we still don't know when She-Hulk is going to show up. We still don't know when Captain Marvel is going to show up. We just know there has been work done on those characters specifically. So again, just don't give in to the doom and gloom. That's all I'm saying. Don't let the doom and gloom get to you, because it's not really supported by anything. All we know specifically is this: Embracer Group is a better fit for Crystal Dynamics and Marvel's Avengers than Square Enix ever was. That's the biggest takeaway from this. If you take nothing else away from this news, take away the fact that Embracer Group is going to do a lot more for Crystal Dynamics with Avengers than Square Enix did, because Square Enix did not care about Avengers and deemed it a loss and just a waste of time. They felt like they wasted money and resources on marketing the game and things like that. And again, they didn't do it right. They didn't take accountability for what they did wrong. They didn't, like the team that originally was working on the game, they didn't know how to communicate what this game was supposed to be. Is it a single player campaign game? Is it a multiplayer game? Is it both? They don't really know. They didn't really know what it was. If you go back and look at all the interviews of them hyping up the game and doing promotion for the game, nobody can answer that question. This time last year, no one can answer that question. I was talking to developers on this game, and they still didn't know what kind of game they were working on. They still didn't know what kind of game they wanted this game to be. Now they have leadership in place that knows exactly what this game should be, what they want it to be, and what they need to make it in order for players to want to engage with it. And that's the gist of it. Like, they didn't have the best people in place, and thankfully this game is getting somewhat of a second chance without having to die first. Because if it dies, you're not going to see another Avengers game for a long time. Like, a very long time. That's just how those things work. Like the Fantastic Four movies. When those movies bomb at the theaters, you're not getting another one. They're not just going to, all right, let's try it again next year with someone else. No, if it does horribly, you're not getting another one for a while. When Amazing Spider-Man 2 bombed, you didn't get another one for a while. And it took a drastic change in leadership to even get that green lit and approved. They had to really change the marketing and the perception of that character in on the big screen to get people back on board with it to a certain degree. And that's what you would need for Avengers to have this massive turnaround that everyone wants it to have. Like I said, the missions themselves just aren't that great. That's something they can improve on in the future because they're still actively developing the game. They need to have more hero or just heroic missions. Running around fighting robots in the middle of nowhere is not delivering a heroic feeling for players who are engaging with the game. You don't feel like a hero after you beat up a couple of robots in the middle of Utah. I don't feel like I saved anybody. I don't feel like I changed anything. I feel like I'm just going through the motions to get gear or objectives checked off and whatever. I don't feel like we're doing or accomplishing anything with missions like that. But when you're playing through the campaign and you're playing through A-Day and I'm saving people on a bridge and I'm stopping terrorists, that feels heroic. So I feel like they need more of that in their mission content going forward to deliver on the experience that they say they want to sell to players. Will there be a new enemy? Yeah, you have new enemies in the pipeline. And like I said, they know that what they want to do with this game. They want to focus more on story. They want to deliver more villains. They want to deliver more heroes. They want to deliver fun, playable content. You just have to give them the time. And expecting the game to die every other month just like it doesn't help anybody. It's clearly not dying. People have been saying this game has been dying for 2 years. Like, bro, we 2 years in and you still claiming the game is dying. Why? Let it go. Just let it go. Let the narrative go. if you're genuinely scared about the game dying, like that's bad for your own mental health. Let that go. The game is clearly I can turn on the game right now. I can turn on Avengers right now, play Avengers and run around in Avengers. I can play with other players in Avengers. I can do it all because the game is still available. And it's going to be available. They have stuff in place to make the game fun going forward. You're getting a new hero. Not an Echo, a new hero who's going to have unique gameplay and who's going to have a story about why they're showing up into the game and things like that. So it's like, hey, yeah, definitely, guys, hit the like button if you just popped in. And again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I just wanted to, kind of cover this. Like, I literally woke up to this news and was like, all right, how do I want to approach it? Should I just go live? Because, I was going to do a traditional video, but, that probably wouldn't have been out until around now or later. So it's like, I'll just go live and talk about it and give people a chance, to ask questions or say what they want to say about the game. But it's like, I understand wanting official news or an official statement that, hey, the game's future is going to be okay. I don't think you're going to get something like that because everything they're doing now seems to be geared toward just taking it one day at a time, taking it one move at a time. So with the idea of, we don't want to commit to long-term roadmaps like we did in the past, I feel like that's indicative of we don't want to oversell expectations. We don't want to commit to things that may fall through. They don't want to look crazy. So when you saw patrol mode on the roadmap last year and then you never got patrol mode, they feel stupid behind that. That doesn't make them feel good. They feel like that was a dumb decision. Why did we do that? There's people on the team who didn't agree with that being on the on the roadmap, but they weren't in a position to really do much about it at that time. Nick Wiltshire with the sub. Appreciate that. Appreciate you becoming an Avenger. But yeah, they're trying to be smarter and do better with what they're able to do with the game going forward, and I appreciate that. I'm telling you, like, for better or for worse, the leadership that the game has in place right now is a lot better than the leadership you had a year ago and 2 years ago. Simply based on they have a vision for what the game is, and they're more in tune with what players want this to be. They could be a lot better. I'll say that objectively, and just that's the facts. They could do a lot better, and they can't. And hopefully, they realize that and kind of develop better marketing strategies. I want to say, because it's like the brand marketing could be a lot better. It could be it could be a lot better than what we've seen, and hopefully it just improves in the future. What's up, Michael? How you doing? And what's up, Squishy Gaming and Jay Moise and the New York Gamer? How you guys doing? Like maybe a mission should be different for Thor than let's say Cap. Yeah, they iconic missions. If they can get more iconic missions that have some payoff or the things that they set up in the iconic missions, like Loki, like actually have a plan to bring him to the game. Like when they set up and tease Loki and Thor's iconic mission, I don't think they had a real timeline of when they're going to introduce him to the game story. I don't think they have a vision for when they're going to introduce him to the story. That was just something somebody thought would be cool to do, to kind of just have players like, oh, where's Loki? When is he going to come? But the studio is like, oh, well, that was just a fun tease. It's like, bro, have a vision in place. We're going to have a Loki, spinoff. Loki brings frost giants, or Loki brings a Asgardian invasion or something. Like, have something in place. And they've teased them several times. You got the Loki tease in Thor's iconic mission. You got a Loki tease from Zarafari when he was talking to him in Wakanda, and you also just got a Loki tease with Jane Foster's comic trailer. So it's like, deliver on that. Stop teasing. We've been tickled enough. Start delivering. Start getting a plan in place to actually deliver on that. They teased Ultron. Miller has shared that Ultron has seen recent development updates behind the scenes. So, again, get something in place to pay that off. That should be the focus going forward. More secret areas too. Yeah, secret areas, just little Easter eggs and stuff like that. But the other day when I was streaming, I've been replaying the campaign, and I was saying that, like, just having little Easter eggs in the game's campaign, like you look over and you see like Luke Cage and Iron Fist chasing somebody around the corner. You can't go over there. You only see them for a second, but it's a fun little tease. Or you see Daredevil running across a rooftop or something like that. Or you have NPCs, so heroes who are not yet in the game, but they are NPCs who run around. So you have assets for War Machine. Make him a NPC until you're ready to make him a fully integrated character into the game's roster. Stuff like that is what I think should be on the table. And like I said, I'm not suggesting that as if it's easy, but I definitely felt like they could do a lot better and with some of the resources they have available. Avengers has plot armor. Hey, if that keeps it around, I'm all about the plot armor. That's how they should introduce the Inhuman royal family. Yeah, I actually have a video coming up about that, because Brian made an interesting statement about the Inhumans in the Avengers game that I wanted to share with you guys. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, just things like that. Like you introduced the Inhumans in this universe, but we haven't really done much with them since then. Like, they can be NPCs. They could be rumored. You have Quake. So many people want Quake in this game. Like, if this is a small scale year for the game, so instead of doing Jane Foster as a tie-in, you could introduce Quake. So you got Quake and Winter Soldier. Those are two heroes that people want to see and people want to play with. And neither of those characters would be an Echo. So it would require more work on your end instead of going with Jane Foster, but it would be a bigger payoff, I believe. Because the Jane Foster thing kind of set negative expectations for the game going forward. Because when we saw them kind of tie her in ahead of the movie, people assumed that She-Hulk would be tied in ahead of her show. Clearly, that's not the case. And why? We don't know. And it doesn't seem to make much sense, but that's a decision that was made. So it's like, little things like that is what I think they have to get better at, going forward. But, like I said, we just have to wait and see if they, can ultimately do that. What character do you want in Marvel's Avengers? I want everybody. I want Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, War Machine. I want some rare characters like Wonder Man. Just go crazy. Black Panther versus Killmonger or Man Ape. More Wakandan villains. Just like, if they do a Wakanda patrol mode, you have to do people like that. So Man Ape, Killmonger, people like that. You definitely got to go with those kind of villains if you were to do a Wakandan patrol mode, and hopefully that is something they have in mind, to introduce, in the future. Black Bolt in this game would be nutty. Yeah, it's like the Inhuman royal family would absolutely be insane. What's up, Preach? How you feeling, man? Marvel's Avengers PS4, is it like Marvel's Avengers PS5? Yeah, it's the exact same game. Exactly the same game. But yeah, for anybody who's just popping in, Preach, appreciate that super chat. Thank you for the 179. Thank you, and thanks for always giving, Preach. I really appreciate that. But yeah, if you just popped in, the Embrace It group is finalized. They now have full rights to Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and other assets like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, and Legacy of Kain. And I was saying that this is actually good news for those studios because Square Enix, they just didn't care about their Western studios. Like those are the facts. They just didn't give them the same support that they gave their Japanese based studios. But yeah, I feel like I feel confident that they're going to be able to deliver on bigger heroes going into 2023. They know that 2022 was kind of underwhelming content wise, and I think the idea is to kind of wow players going into 2023. Well, is that what's going to happen? We have yet to see because we came into this year expecting them to really wow players, but we'll see. But like I said, the purpose of this stream is purely to just kind of let you guys know you don't have to get caught up in the doom and gloom scenarios. You don't have to get caught up in the game is dying narratives and things like that. Nothing in this information, nothing here or anywhere else on the internet is going to support that narrative. That's all I'm saying. There's literally nothing that's going to support that. What's up, Blue Lion? This will definitely have games if they go in that direction. The more characters, the better. Yeah, like as long as the game is alive, as long as they're building up the character roster and the villain roster and adding fun mission content, the game will always have a better future than what it had a year ago and a year before that. And that's all I'm saying. If you enjoy the game, simply enjoy the game. Give them the time they need to get things in place to do better. They're still hiring people. They have to onboard those people. They have to get them acclimated to their system and get them in place where they can, contribute to the team in a meaningful capacity. And once they have everything is rolling, all lights are green, all boxes are checked, 2023 is going to be a lot brighter than 2022 just based on the fact that they have more people. So you have more people that can work on assets. You have more people that are in leadership roles that actually are working towards the same vision of the game. So instead of, pushing out nonsense or things that they're not going to be able to deliver on, they're pushing out things that they can go 100% on and can guarantee they're going to deliver in the time frame that they're going to deliver it. The patches that we've been getting have not been breaking the game. That's a plus. A year ago, every patch that they uploaded into this game broke something. Every patch that they uploaded into this game gave us more problems than what we had, and it took just as long to get those problems removed from the game. The biggest problem they had this year was with patch 2.3, and that wasn't necessarily on them. That was more so a Sony problem because Sony did an update at the same time that kind of broke their update, I guess. And that caused a lot of issues like Thor not doing damage with his hammer and like different heroes having wonky traversal mechanics. So people are flying, people are running on walls and jumping higher and stuff like that. But again, this year has been dedicated to getting things in a better place going forward. So you're getting new character buffs. They're going to be buffing all the heroes across the board to make their heroic stronger, to make their attack stronger, to make balancing better, and to make their traversal better. They know that people have been complaining about traversal for years with this game. They just haven't had the resources to fix it or do anything about it. They haven't had the people to spare to put on those issues specifically because all hands were on deck on other things. Now they have more resources. Now they can allocate resources towards fixing things like character balance and traversal, which is what they told us a year ago. Now they're in a place to actually do that, which is why Embracer acquiring the studio is a good thing, because you weren't seeing this last year under Square Enix. So now that they are in place, now that they actually have funding and support, you can do a lot with this game that you couldn't do 2 years ago. You can do a lot with this game that you couldn't do 1 year ago. So just like bear with them. And if you want the game to die, or you're hoping for the game to die, hey, it might be a while. It literally might take a while. So we don't know how long this game is going to last. We don't know how long the licensing agreement is in place. Like the people who are saying this is a bad thing, or Avengers not being listed here is bad, they can't tell you how long Square Enix licensing agreement with Marvel was, because they don't have that information. They don't know anything about what's going on with these deals outside of what you get promoted. And again, this article here specifically, and this deal specifically, is not tied to Avengers specifically. Avengers is a different agreement. That's agreement with Marvel. That's not a purchasing agreement that takes place with Square Enix for rights and IPs and studios. You're not going to see that here. So it not being here is not indicative of anything bad, because it has nothing to do with this. Just like in their quarterly report, they had nothing to say about this deal or Avengers because it wasn't finalized, and Avengers has nothing to do with what they acquired in Q1 of this year. What traversal changes do you want? A lot for the Hulk. They definitely need to bring Captain America and Black Panther's speed up a lot. I don't know what they can do for people like Hawkeye, because it's like either give them a speed boost or give them some kind of vehicle. I don't think they're going to go as far as introducing vehicles in the game, but I feel like that's something they should explore, because like sky cycles for Black Widow and Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, that would be, or at least a hover cycle, just something to help these people go faster. Help them, get around the map a bit faster, because bunny hopping around, that just isn't fun. And I think the game's focus going forward should be more geared towards delivering a fun, heroic experience for players, not a tedious, mind-numbingly, grading experience for players. Let me see. Let me check something really quick. That didn't do what I wanted it to do. But yeah, guys, if you just popped in, again, I appreciate you guys coming through 100%. You figure out something really quick.
Avengers! Assemble.
Kill with the sub. Appreciate that. Again, I don't know what happened there. Let me see. Try to add that back. But yeah, guys, if you're just popping in, make sure you leave a like. That definitely helps the channel, and I definitely appreciate it. Don't know what happened to the chat on the screen, but I'll figure that out later. But yeah, guys, again, I'm just trying to balance out your expectations for the game. Just this news isn't bad news in the slightest, and it's definitely not a doom and gloom scenario in any capacity. Okay, so that's what was going on. Yeah, as always, I appreciate you guys. And like I said, if you guys got questions about the deal, about the game, or anything like that, feel free to drop them in chat. And for everybody who became a member today, I definitely appreciate that. I can have I have some videos. Like I said, I have a new show in mind that I want to introduce for you guys. The most I'll say about it here is it deals with Marvel characters versus DC characters, and kind of taking a look at the history behind that. That's something I've been thinking about and exploring for a while, and I think I finally have a vision for how I want to introduce that and how I want to present that in content form. So members will definitely get a first look at that, and you guys can give me feedback about what you think about it, and if everybody is liking it, it's definitely something I push forward. Do you think we'll ever get a Red Hulk skin? I would more so hope to see Red Hulk come to the game, like Thunderbolt characters, things like that. Like I said, I think the focus going forward should be more predicated on fun, just doing fun things, in general. So you got Winter Soldier in the game. You can introduce, like, they already have assets for Red Hulk in the game files. So it's like revisiting something like that. If you want to use Black Widow's assets to make a Yelena character, for a Thunderbolts team, or like the Dark Avengers, stuff like that is something I feel like they should really explore going forward. What's up, Corey? How you feeling, man? Appreciate you coming through. But how are you guys feeling about this news? Are you are you falling into the doom and gloom? Like, are you still waiting for official news about Avengers, or are you like, hey, the deal is finally done? Hopefully they can talk about it. But if not, we'll see. I've asked for your input or opinion on a video I made. Um, Send me a link to it on Twitter, Ronnie. I'll check it out. I'm always positive about the game. Yeah, just chill out. Just chill and relax. I think it's not too bad. I'm on the deal. It's finally done. I feel like it's a win. Always like the game is going to get better and better. I'll bet on it. I have high hopes for the deal, especially if Embracer can restructure the Spider-Man deal. I that would be ideal. Like, if they can figure out a way to bring Spider-Man to every platform, that would be such a huge win for them, because Spider-Man has been such a anomaly with this game. Like, nothing about it really made sense. Like, I don't understand it. Like, it just doesn't make sense on paper. Like, I don't get it. But as always, that's pretty much the Avengers in a nutshell. Like, what we know and what we see from them is basically that. Low key, I want to play as him hella bad. You want to play as who? Spider Man? You on Xbox? Like I said, they definitely could have made him a lot better if they. Like I said, he's going to be one of the heroes that they're buffing going forward. So hopefully they can tweak his traversal. Hopefully they can improve his combat a little more, buff his damage. Like, if they can buff Spider-Man's melee damage, that would be a huge W, because that man is nowhere near as heroic as he should be in this game. Like, it's crazy that heroes like Hawkeye and Black Widow can do way more damage than somebody like Captain America, Black Panther, and Spider-Man. Spider-Man specifically, like, if anybody should be doing a ton of damage, it should be Spider-Man. But yeah, if they can revisit that deal with Sony and just get to a place where they can release him on multiple platforms, I would definitely do that. My only fear for that would be they would do that and in place of releasing a new hero. So they would release him for multiple platforms, and have that as a hero slot on the year. So we made Spider-Man available for everybody instead of releasing him alongside of another hero. What's up, Sarah? Appreciate you coming through. Ready to see what Cap buff is like. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I just want him to be faster, and I want him to hit a lot harder than what he's been able to do. Titania will be in the Thunderbolts team. That's awesome. You talking about the MCU? I can see it. I can definitely see it. I think she's gonna pop up in later episodes of She-Hulk. Definitely don't think that's the last you've seen of her. But yeah, just the fact that they got to a place where they can actually buff heroes is a really good thing for the game going forward. When will continue your main story series? I'll be playing again later today. I haven't decided on a specific time. I was planning on doing another video this morning, but the deal news takes precedent over that. And then I was hoping to probably be live around 3, playing some more Avengers. So yeah, we'll definitely be doing that today. Bro, they need to ask She-Hulk hella bad. She looked real good. Down tremendous for She-Hulk. But yeah, they definitely. I hope she's one of the early additions for next year. Like when I was under the expectation that she and both Winter Soldier would be making it in this year, my hopes for next year were that somebody like Ant-Man might squeeze in or something like that. But as it is right now, we just don't know what the hell is going on over there or what their plans are going forward or anything like that. What's the top 10 things you would like in a Superman game? Everything Superman can do. He has a ton of abilities, so make him able to do what he's supposed to be able to do, and introduce a solid story and kind of start things off from Smallville. So, you kind of learn your powers as a teenage Clark Kent, and do small missions where you're saving people and stuff like that. That's about. I don't ask for much from games in general. I'm so glad Black Panther will be getting some love. Absolutely, bro. His gameplay is fun as hell. He just doesn't hit hard enough. Same with Captain America. Like, they just don't hit hard enough. I'm guessing She-Hulk and Rhodey will debut next year. I'm hoping. If we can get War Machine in the game, I will take it, bro. What Black Panther skin do you want to see the most in Marvel's Avengers game or the Black Panther game? That Black Panther game, I'm very much on the fence about that. It's still early rumors at this point, but the rumors that they're sharing right now are not sounding great. So I'm kind of tentative about that. But he has a ton of suits. I actually made a video talking about the skins I would want for him, but just some of his traditional comic costumes, I guess. Yes, indeed, the MCU Thunderbolts film for Titania. So yeah, I think I did read about that. Now that you mention it, what hero you think should have a solo game? Any hero can have a solo game. Like, you got Wolverine getting a solo game coming up. Definitely, I think Superman and Flash are definitely due for some solo games at this point, just to kind of shake things up a bit. Do you have to get the DLC to play with Black Panther? I don't think so. But you don't have to pay for anything. It's all free. What if we get a Black Panther Echo? It would probably be Shuri or White Tiger. Spider-Man on all platforms is critical for crossplay, though. Excuse me. Either crossplay would be mode specific, excluding Spidey from it on PlayStation, or Spidey would have to be in the non-PlayStation game files. Like I said, crossplay is tricky, and I don't think they're currently anywhere near being ready to introduce something like crossplay. They're exploring options for that, but that's about all they're doing on that front. No, all add-ons like that are free. Yep. It's time for the Avengers party to begin. We've been partying since 2020. Manifesting Shuri. Bro, When Miller was teasing about the mystery hero and he had people looking at Shuri and Yelena as the possible hero, I was leaning more towards Yelena, basically mainly because I know she would have gunplay, and because ranged is so much better than melee in this game. So I didn't want Shuri just because I didn't want to have her sitting in the dust in the shadows like Black Panther, because it's like I I need to build all of those heroes up. Like I got to build up Black Panther way more, heading into cloning labs. It's just like I said, the mission content could be a lot better. I don't enjoy playing the mission content as much. What would you choose between Doctor Strange and Wanda, patrol mode in the city, a new operation, a new raid type mission? Um, so you saying Doctor Strange and Wanda at the same time? Uh, right now, I think patrol mode. Well, see, it's tough because all of those things kind of have a downside if they were introduced into the game as it is right now. So if you give us Doctor Strange and Wanda right now, that would be fun. Leveling up, they would be the most fun to play. A patrol mode in the city would be fun to play if done right. So that is dependent on what villains you introduce in that patrol mode and what there is to do in that patrol mode. They're not doing new operations, and that's fine with me. And a new raid type mission. Right now, I don't think a new raid is necessary until somebody like Captain Marvel comes to the game, unless you do like a Odin raid, where like Odin or Loki comes looking for Jane Foster to the Avengers timeline. But so based on that, I would say Doctor Strange and Wanda, because I know I would get the most fun playing with both of those characters. All I'm saying is we need to be manifesting War Machine. This dude has so much progress done on him, yet he's stuck in transit. Yeah, like I said, I definitely want War Machine, and like I said, I just don't know what the division is behind the scenes, but War Machine definitely would have made it into the game before Jane Foster if I'm making decisions behind the game. Between Shuri, White Tiger as an Echo, I'm 100% team White Tiger. Yeah, just because it's something she would be something new versus Shuri would be very similar to Black Panther outside of probably having more range capabilities or different range capabilities. Don't know how to send a link. We'll chop it up after this. If you're on Twitter, just send me a message on Twitter and I'll help you figure it out. Black Panther is one of my least played heroes. Yeah, like once he kind of got nerfed a bit, and just the melee just like with overshield and all the different stuff with enemies and getting shot by stuff off screen is like, and then being able to do status, being solely dependent on melee combos is like, yeah, that's just not the move. Like melee in general should apply status. So every melee hit should apply status. So if you got vibranium on melee, that should apply status every attack you make, instead of trying to apply status at the end of a combo. Especially with Black Panther, he has long combos. So by the time you get to your fifth or sixth hit, you've got shot or you had to dodge or something like that. So it's like that's just bad designing. Sarah Maynard with the membership from Fate Walker. Appreciate that, Fate. Fate Walker, bro, you are one of the best things about this community, man. Thank you. Definitely appreciate it. I want them to add anyone from the X-Men. Yeah, a lot of people want that. If you checked out my latest poll, you can definitely see that people definitely want that. Yeah, get this guy out of here. But yeah, a lot of people want the X-Men. A lot of people want a lot. Sucks because I main Black Panther. Please make him a king again, not a wet napkin. He's getting a buff. Like I said, how good those buffs will be, we'll have to see. But he's definitely getting a buff. So let me see. How do you get high power level with Jane Foster? So you can either do the missions or the event missions, or you can play the raid and the Omega level threat mission. That's how you get higher level gear. Black Panther still my main. Hey, like I said, he's definitely dope. He could be a lot better. Is all I'm saying. We might get Deadpool, but that's about it from X-Men. I think everybody you just listed is wishful thinking at this point. Now I see people saying Avengers should be free to play. They can get a lot of revenue from cosmetics and emotes, great emotes. Yeah, but again, if they go full free to play, they're gonna have to start charging for other stuff because you still have to make up money. So it's like that you may look at them selling content. So new heroes may come with a price tag in the future, and that's definitely gonna come with backlash. So it's like it's a trade off to whatever they do. I definitely think free to play would get more players to engage with it because they don't have to risk anything up front, but they may not like having to pay for content, knowing that so many other people got that content for free. If we get a Savage Land tease post 2022, I'm losing it. Yeah, I don't see them doing that, bro. Like at this point, I'm just hoping we get some kind of space-based mission or a space biome or something like that. Like Captain Marvel brings us out in space. I know a lot of people want to see Asgard as well. They need to make online play free. That's more of a PlayStation Plus and Xbox issue. In my opinion, I think that they can introduce the survival mode with Ultron, and if the game continue and they decide to do a Civil War story, they can put PvP. Yeah, I don't think they're interested in doing PvP at all. Like that requires a completely different set of balancing that I don't think they're trying to tackle. And then you got networking issues to factor in. I just don't see them doing that at all. I would like for Asgard to be in the game. Yeah, just something in like it's definitely going to be just like Wakanda, where you're not really getting to explore it that much, but just bloody. You literally just read my mind, bro. Just being able to go outside on the helicarrier, just that would be a step up. And having a mission where the helicarrier gets attacked again, but this time it's multiplayer. You know what I'm saying? So now you get to experience that same kind of content, but with multiplayer. So you need somebody to fix something, and you also need people to deal with different threats popping up across the helicarrier and things like that. So every hero or every player has an objective on the helicarrier that revolves around either solving some kind of puzzle or fighting off enemies or saving somebody or whatever the mission is. Delivering something like that or delivering missions like the A-Day experience to multiplayer is where I feel like the game has the most potential to shine. Because if you can deliver something like that in this game for multiple players at once, that would be huge, and that puts the game in a different light entirely, because that's not an experience you can get anywhere else. You can't get that in Gotham Knights. You can't get that in Marvel Spider-Man. You're not getting that anywhere but here. And if they could deliver on that, you set yourself apart from the competition in a major way. They definitely need to buff Black Panther's King's Mercy. Yeah, they're going to be buffing everything across the board. They're looking at heroics and everything. So heroics, combat, traversal, balancing. They're making everybody better. Then nobody's getting a nerf. Nobody's being toned down. Everybody is going to be better after the balancing. Brian has already confirmed they're going to be doing all buffs, no nerfs. They have enough move sets between characters to make your own Inhuman. Yeah, but like I said, that again that requires that requires a lot that I think you have to have that vision from day one, to do something like that. I think they should be reusing so many more assets from the campaigns. Agreed. Like I said, I feel like just giving players the opportunity to replay A-Day, either as a Tachyon mission or just a flashback mission, but being able to play through that with different heroes. So you can play through A-Day with Spider-Man. So you can swing across the bridge while it's being attacked with Spider-Man. You got Black Panther now. You got Kate Bishop. She can be involved. You got Jane Foster. You'll have Winter Soldier. So being able to re-experience campaign missions with other heroes would be a big win. And again, that's going to take work. It's going to take resources. But I definitely think that's something like that is worth the time and dedication it would take to be able to deliver on that. I think they should be reused. Oh, I read that one. I can only imagine how dope Ghost Rider would be. Everybody would be dope in this game. Like that's the beauty of how the combat design is set up. It's deep. It's not just like super surface level. Like they put time and thought into everything they're doing. What's up, Nathaniel? Um, so Ghost Rider is going to play completely different than somebody like Captain America, somebody like Thor. He's going to have very unique gameplay, and like you can say the same for Doctor Strange. You can say the same for Wolverine. You can say the same for Ant-Man. Everybody has the potential to play uniquely outside of the people who are Echo. So if you introduce John Walker, he's going to play like Captain America, except maybe he'll have a gun. You get what I'm saying? Like those outside of Echo heroes, everybody has so much unique potential in this game as it's designed. But that takes a lot of work, that takes a lot of design, that takes a lot of planning and resources. So that's not something they can roll out, month to month like they were promising, at the game's launch. But, now that they have a better vision and understanding of how long it takes to actually develop, design, and get out characters and heroes, I feel like they a couple months time is more realistic, and they're working on what's coming next a lot earlier in the pipeline. So the people who are coming next year are already being worked on now, and the people who will be coming next year or later in next year, they're going to be worked on at the start of next year. So what they're working on at the start of next year will not be what's being ready to be rolled out, because they're already doing the work for that, at the start of the year. Hope they overhaul Taskmaster boss fight so that he isn't just a sponge. Yeah, hopefully they can revisit the boss fights in the future as well, because like if I was just saying yesterday on Bob's stream that Taskmaster, like if he had a jetpack phase as in his boss fight, like you see in his boss fight with Black Widow during A-Day, and give him a bow and arrow, just different things to mix up the combat. I feel like that can just add a fresh layer of spark to that boss fight. Abomination, he could do a lot more. I love the fact that he will kill you if you're down. So if he downs any of your heroes and you let them stay down long enough, he will punch down and get them off the board. But it's because we're so strong now. It's like you're never going to see anything like that. And he's not one-shotting anybody. Like I feel like takedowns should be something that's introduced across the board. So we should be able to do takedowns on the bosses, as well as the bosses should be able to do takedowns on heroes. Like I'm all about all of that. Give us Avengers towers for the love of all, bro. Yeah, just let players go fight for Avengers tower. Make that a mission, make that an Omega level threat or something. And but again, as I said, I think the fight for Avengers Tower is going to take place in the courtroom. And again, that's an opportunity to introduce She-Hulk. Atlantis would be a really good place to play in. Yeah, that's and they know it. It's that stuff is going to take a lot of work, and that's what they were saying. Like the War for Wakanda and creating Wakanda as a new environment and everything, that took over a year to develop. And to do something like that, they have to be able to justify it, with profit. So if they're not seeing a return on that, it's hard to justify those resources and time being spent making that possible. So again, I think they can do a lot. It's just all about balancing and assigning people to the right roles and having the proper vision in place. But if you just popped in, appreciate you coming through. Make sure you leave a like on the stream. It definitely helps support the stream and the channel. I see we got 131. Thank you guys for that. And again, do not get sucked into the doom and gloom scenarios of Marvel's Avengers not being included in the Embracer group listing of their newly acquired assets. It's Marvel's Avengers is not a part of that list because it's not they're not purchasing Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's Avengers, the IP is not for sale. They can buy a license from Marvel and Marvel Games to license Marvel's Avengers. That's it. That's all. That's literally all they can do. Square Enix cannot sell the license to Marvel's Avengers, so that license will not be present here. So it's not a bad thing. Can we hear more about it in the future? Maybe Crystal Dynamics will make an official stance on it. Maybe Embracer will make an official statement about their plans for Marvel's Avengers or something like that. Maybe Marvel or Disney goes as far as making a statement about Avengers going forward. We don't know, but this information here and the lack of Avengers information is not indicative of things. Shaquan with the sub, appreciate that. That's not indicative of anything bad. That's all I'm saying. And again, they're currently working on new content for the game, and I don't want to guarantee it because I don't know. There's nothing definitive to support the idea that Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, and Captain Marvel are being planned for next year, but I wouldn't be surprised to see 2, if not 3 of those heroes pop up next year. At the very least, one of them. So at the very least, you're going to get one of those big heroes next year, and along with who else, we don't know. But they are planning to do big things for the game. We know that Patrol Mode is being worked on. We know that Join in Progress is actively being tested. We might even see Join in Progress brought to the game this year. If they figure that out, if they get to a place where it's functional, we can see Join in Progress ahead of Patrol Mode. We know that they didn't want to make Patrol Mode available without Join in Progress being a thing, but they are testing it now, according to Miller. They are testing it, and if they're in testing for that, that means they're getting closer to being ready to release. So if we can see Join in Progress launched alongside of Cloning Labs when that is released, that is going to be huge because that means you'll be able to join back into raids if you bug out or lose your connection for whatever reason. You'll be able to join into OLT missions if you bug out for whatever reason. That opens up a lot, and that is something that the game massively needs. And if they're able to deliver on that, that's going to be huge going into next year because now when they introduce new OLTs and new raids, we already know that it's going to have Join in Progress. And when they do get to a place where they're ready to release Patrol Mode, we already know that it'll have Join in Progress because it's here. It's already here. So if we can get Join in Progress in 2022, that's a win for this year. With all the rework that they did and the restructuring of onboarding for newer players, and you cap off the year with Winter Soldier, Cloning Labs, and Join in Progress, that's a win. They're not just completely clueless behind the scenes for this game. They have a lot of smart people in place. Brian Wagner is very, very knowledgeable about how these things should work, and I do believe he's been one of the best assets to the team's credibility, since he's been brought on. He's the reason we have the shipments in place. He's the reason you saw MCU skins added to the shipments. I don't know what the vision for shipments has been these past few months because we know they brought back MCU Iron Man 3 and Hawkeye from Civil War, as purchases in the shipments to give newer players a chance to get those skins, and they basically did those back to back. So I don't know what they're going to be introducing in the shipments going forward as the chase skin for the month, but the shipments can always improve, and he's a big part of why something like that was added to the game in the first place. So you have better leadership in place for the game, and Brian, he is vocal. He will talk to people on Twitter. He'll talk to people on the Discord. He will communicate what he can. He's not going to give full-blown spoilers, but he does appreciate giving out a good tease here and there. And that's about as much as he can do given, NDAs and, restraints from Marvel and the publisher and things like that. So if he can tease something, he will. He won't give anything definitive if he can't, but he will tell you certain things. He says a lot. Brian Wagner has said a lot in the past months about what's coming to the game, what we can expect for the game. He's the reason that we knew that Cloning Labs and Patrol Mode wasn't just completely just trashed or deserted. He said, no, we're reworking it. We're going to look at how to make it more viable for what the game's current vision is, and we'll reintroduce it once we get to a place where we feel like it's that. He's been communicating that. So it's like we get communication. I understand wanting more. I understand wanting more definitive communication, but you do actually get communication about what the game's future is. And actions, the game's actions or the studio's actions are a form of communication. They're hiring. They're hiring people specifically for Avengers. That's communication. That's letting you know they have resources that they didn't have a year ago. They're working on new content. That's letting you know that as far as they're concerned, the sky is not falling. If you look at them, if you actually follow any other developers or listen to them speak about the deal or the acquisition, they're very optimistic about the game's future. They've known about the deal before it was announced. They can't say anything official that they're not allowed to say, but they have been very optimistic and very happy about the new direction that the studio is heading in under the Embracer Group's leadership. Brian Wagner has been very vocal about that. So again, the idea that the game is dying or any of this is bad for the game or we don't know what's going on and all of that stuff, it's not supported by anything. So again, if you want to be conspiracy theorists about every aspect of the game, clearly nothing is going to stop that. No information if they announce right now, hey, Avengers is going to be is funded and licensed through 2027, or they just did a new agreement with Marvel until 2030. There's still going to be doom and gloom scenarios about that. Oh, well, things can change. If they don't perform well, they can die. So it's like the goalpost is always going to move. That's all that it is. If you want to promote the narrative that the game is going to die, you're going to do it. What's up, Mookie? What did you miss? We've officially learned that Embracer has finalized the deal to acquire Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix. They're going to get games, or they're going to get ownership of IPs like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, and more than 50 back catalog games from Square Enix Holdings. And, the idea that Marvel's Avengers not being listed here isn't a bad thing because they didn't purchase Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's Avengers isn't for sale. The IP, the licensing agreement, with Marvel, that's a completely different thing. So you're not going to get news about Avengers in this deal because Avengers wasn't purchased here. That's pretty much all that comes down to. But you're basically all caught up. But again, like I said, guys, if you want to believe that something is always there's a knife always hanging over the ceiling of this game, nothing, no information they share, nothing I share is going to change that narrative for you. That's just going to be where you're at mentally. Like I'm telling you, they can definitively say this game is funded and supported through 20 whatever, and people will still be like, well, that can change, plans can change, we never know, because that's just what you want. That's where you want to be with the game mentally. So if you want to believe the game is dying, believe it. I'm not selling you anything. I don't have any skin in that game. I don't have any more information about this outside of what we're seeing. I'm just telling you that this information that's being presented and the information that we just got in the quarterly report is not indicative of anything negative about the game's future, because the game's future, as we can tell, is fine. The studio just told you in a Forbes article that we got with from an interview with Paul Tassi and Brian Wagner that the game has seen a massive surge of players coming in since they made the game available via PlayStation Plus new tier system. So now new players who have PlayStation Plus can play Avengers for free without any additional purchasing, and they're enjoying the game. There are new players on Reddit, there are new players on Twitter, there are new players on YouTube who are playing the game all the time and enjoying what they're finding. They're playing through the campaign and they're amazed. They're playing through in-game content and they're amazed, and they're enjoying the game, and those numbers are growing. the game is not dying, it's growing. The people who are saying it's dying cannot give you a definitive number. Ask those people to tell you how many players are actively playing the game. They don't know because that information isn't shared with them. Ask them, when was this deal initiated? How long has this deal been in place? Not when it was announced. How long has this deal been in place? They cannot tell you that because they do not know. What conversations have Embracer and Crystal Dynamics had behind the scenes? What conversations has Embracer and Marvel had behind the scenes? They do not know. They don't know any of that. They can't tell you any of that because we don't know any of that. None of that is shared. What we do know, Crystal Dynamics is now under Embracer Group. Crystal Dynamics has funding to make new hiring that they weren't able to do a year ago when they were fully under Square Enix. Crystal Dynamics just announced that new content for Avengers is coming later this year, and the developers for Crystal Dynamics have teased that they have new content planned beyond 2022 and well into 2023. That's what we know. You can turn on Avengers right now and play the game. You know that. This is what we know. Those are the facts. Anything outside of that is simply speculation and narrative. So again, I'm not trying to sell you either way. I'm just simply telling you objectively what we know. So based on the developers' inside information, he didn't give specific numbers, but he said they have seen a massive surge in players in the player base since they've gone free to play, quote unquote, via PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass. New people are coming in picking up this game because they have Game Pass and they have PlayStation Plus, and they're not being charged anything. So you get to play the game at no additional charge. You just got the Winter Soldier skin yesterday. People bought that skin. A lot of players bought that skin. We know this. So people are buying skins. People are still getting excited about skins. People are still interacting with the game's marketplace. So the game is making money. The game is bringing in new players. The game has plans to drop future content. If everything was bad and everything was the floor was falling, they would be wrapping up. You would be getting a different announcement. Hey guys, there's no more content coming. Unfortunately, the lights are going off over here for Avengers. That's it. Or you would try to turn on Avengers and there would be nothing there. You can't go online because there is no online. It's not that. You can play Avengers right now. They have content coming in September and beyond because they are working on content. They're working on content that's coming next year already right now. You have 2 new heroes in early designs right now. They've hired new people specifically to work on this game for what's coming next year. You have people brought on to do villain designs, villains and enemy designs. You brought on people to work on hero designs. You have level designers coming in. You just got a new assistant designer or associate designer. They're hiring for the future. You're ramping up for the future. You don't ramp up for a future you don't have. If you have a terminal illness, you get what I'm saying? You're not booking a trip for the year that you're supposed to be dying. I'm dying in 2020, so I'm not going to be booking a trip for 2022 because I'm not going to be here. That doesn't make any sense. So just look at what makes sense. Look at what you know and look at what makes sense. Again, if you want to believe things are falling, there is literally nothing I can say or do that's going to take that belief away from you. You're going to say I'm shilling, you're going to say I'm defending, you're going to say whatever, when all I'm actually doing is objectively reading information to you that you can access yourself. You can go check this out yourself. That's it. That's it, that's all. That's literally it, that's all. So again, the people who are saying, oh, this is bad news somehow, or the game is still dying, or we don't know if it's dying, or they're going to pull the plug, nothing supports that. Tell them to show you anything that supports that. That's factual information that's been shared either by Embracer Group, Crystal Dynamics, or Marvel Games, and you share that with me. I'll make a video on it and we'll chop it up. You won't be able to do that. There is no information out there that's going to allow you to do that. If that information was readily available, we would be talking about that instead of this. It just isn't that. And again, it's causing unnecessary stress on people who just get caught up in rumors, because you're not telling people this is just your opinion. You're not telling people this is your speculation. You're telling people, oh well, we don't know. This is this. This is that. This is that. With nothing that supports that. This is evidence and proof right now. The deal is done. A week ago, the deal was not done. It was being finalized, and people were saying, "Oh, well, they might announce it. It didn't go through. This we still don't know. It's taking too long, bro." It's get familiar with business economics. These things, they don't start when they're announced, and they don't end when they tell you they're going to end. So they projected that the deal would be finalized by September. You're in August. This deal just got finalized. You're not going to hear about the breakdown of this until the quarterly two report, or the quarter two report from Embracer Group, which you may not get until sometime in September. I mean, not September. Sometime in November, or later, or maybe next year even. You don't know. Quarter one ended in June. We didn't get a report until August. So if quarter two ends in September, again, you may get a report in November. That's my projection. Or because you got holidays coming up and things like that. You never know. I love the game, and I'm happy to see it's gaining fan support and it's making improvements. Yeah, bro, like they're working on the game. That's the best takeaway you can get from this. They're still working on the game. It's a live service game. As long as they're developing and working on it, the game is alive. The game will always have the opportunity to get better. The game will always have an opportunity to change and improve. It's literally what the game is. That's what live service means. And as I was saying earlier in the stream, games like GTA Online and Xenoverse are completely different games than what they were when the game launched. GTA Online 2013 looks a lot different than GTA Online 2022. You have a lot more cars, you got a lot more businesses you can buy, you got a lot more clothes, a lot more missions, a lot more everything that you can do now that you weren't able to do when the game initially launched. It's a live service game. As long as you're interacting with the game, as long as people are buying skins and buying stuff out of the marketplace that's funding, future development, that's what you're going to do. I personally think they need to relook at their business model and possibly go free to play and look at selling expansions or, new hero content, because you can make more money than just selling skins with Avengers. I understand people have grown attached to the idea of all of this being free, and hey, it definitely helped. I guess it helped keep people around because they know they don't have to pay for that content. But that's not a great business strategy for the long term, and I never would have put that in place if I'm a part of the decision making for this game. We're gonna sell expansions. The Captain Marvel expansion, we're gonna be selling that. The raids and stuff like that, that will all be a part of that expansion, and you'll get access to that by paying for it. Just because you need money. And if we're making money, that allows us to do more. See Win with the sub, appreciate it. But yeah, games like Destiny are selling expansions. They're selling things because they need money, and that money expands the team. That money allows them to do bigger expansions and more in the future, and that's why nobody is worrying about the future of Destiny, because they're a profitable game. They're making a lot of profit. And in this game, the second you're not releasing or talking about new content, new mission content, people start complaining about the skins. Oh, it's just skins. That's all they talk about is skins. That's the only thing they sell. They sell skins, they sell takedowns, they sell emotes, they sell nameplates. They're selling you the bare minimum in the game. And they sell challenge cards, which they give you those credits back and some. So you pay $10 for a challenge card, you get 1,300 credits back. Again, something else they need to look at. How to improve on the challenge card system. Like, challenge cards should be like a monthly or bi-monthly thing. So, once players, complete a challenge card, you should have a new one ready to roll out for each hero every other month or something like that. I hope Embracer can hire more people to work on this. It would definitely blow up big with the Marvel IP. They've already been hiring new people to work on this. And a lot of those people are, in the onboarding process as we speak. I'm excited to see more Marvel games. We had a drought in recent years. Yeah, bro, like this game has been surviving. Like everybody's been saying it's dying and it's going to die, but it's here. They're doing their thing. They're doing what they need to do, and it, it's the only place from here is up. They can go up as long as they're working on the game and building towards a brighter future, and we're here to support it. You're good. But again, I also understand, like Brian has said, they don't have any plans to change their business model. So they must be doing pretty good, according to them, with the current business model. So selling skins must be doing really, really good for them. MCU skins must be doing a lot of numbers for them, especially coming from newer players. Will they introduce new things to sell? We don't know, but as of right now, they're not doing bad. They're not doing nowhere near as bad as people would have you believe. But it's not free to continue to develop for this game. And that's what I was saying about the people who were complaining about operations and expansions no longer being a thing. You're still getting story. You're still getting You're still getting story content. It's just going to be introduced to in-game content, and the single player content doesn't make them any money, but it takes the most time and resources to develop. So if you're taking a year to develop a story content that no one is going to be playing after they complete it, and those same people that completed it are dropping the game. So you beat it, you put the game down because you don't like the in-game mission content, and you're not buying skins, you're not buying anything from the marketplace, you're essentially doing the game a disservice, because you simply playing the game doesn't do anything for them outside of give them player-based numbers that they can show to investors. So we actively had people playing around this time. So when War for Wakanda dropped, the player numbers shot up and skyrocketed because so many people wanted to interact with the War for Wakanda content. But once they finished, those numbers plummeted. A lot of people got out of here. Nobody stuck around to interact with the marketplace. A lot of those players didn't stick around to see what the raid was. Spider-Man being PlayStation exclusive kind of hurt things. Spider-Man being the last hero for that year was a bad move. So it's it's a lot they could do better, like definitively. Like there is no question. Like the Jane Foster release was questionable. You cut corners with her. She doesn't even have a loading screen. She doesn't have a training mission in the harm room or anything. You cut corners, and when people offer the criticism of, oh, you guys are lazy, it's like it's hard to defend or combat that, but it's like I get it. She was just meant to be something in between the rework content and the newer content that's coming on the back end of the year. So just to give you something to do. If you play the game as they intended, you would still be leveling Jane Foster up to this day. You probably just now be getting into the 170s with her if you played the game the way they intended. With the Tachyon anomaly, you can fast track her to the 170s than what they intended, but yeah, if you play normally, you'll still be leveling up Jane, and that's how they're looking at it. That's how they are looking at player or hero releases. Ultron is confirmed? No, he has not been confirmed unless you just got some news. When do you think we will get the Ultron raid? Sometime after Ultron is introduced, if he is indeed going to be a raid. I would hope so. I definitely would love to see an Ultron raid. Hope we get an emote wheel just as a plus. Yeah, that would be a fun side addition they can make, and I think that's something they definitely should be exploring, given how many emotes each character has. But again, like I said, it's not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but that doesn't mean it's a terrible game, and that doesn't mean it's dying because it's not doing what we as players specifically want it to do. That's not what that means. And again, not being listed in a list of acquisitions when it's not actually being purchased by anybody, that narrative makes no sense. The idea that that's a bad thing somehow makes no sense. That's not supported by anything. Having loadout should be a must in this type of game. Yeah. And that's something they're looking at. They just don't have an ETA on when that will actually be introduced. Got to go flex on the dead game preachers. Hey, have at it, bro. Like I said, you're not that you fighting the wall with that, or fighting the wave. I can't change people's minds, and I'm not trying to change people's minds. All I'm doing is giving you informed information. That's all. So the Embracer Group deal, all that gave them access to was Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and other assets including Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, and more than 50 back catalog games from Square Enix. So now they have access to those IPs, they have ownership of those IPs. Embracer was never buying Avengers from Marvel. Marvel will never sell the IP of Avengers to anybody, let alone Embracer Group or a video game studio. It just isn't happening. That doesn't make any sense. They license those games. They sell people the license to make games around that. That's all. I really hope they don't ruin Tomb Raider because I love the trilogy. Hopefully they're going to improve it. It's going to be on Unreal Engine 5, so there's going to be a lot they can do with that. Hopefully they see the potential in Guardians of the Galaxy and make a sequel. Yeah, 100%. Guardians was a dope game, and I definitely hope to see more from that in the future. And again, like, that's the beauty of Embracer buying all of these studios, because they actually believe in the vision of the studios. All it takes is getting the licensing. And again, we may get an official announcement that the license is real, or not real, but finalized, or a new agreement has been reached, or we may not, and they just continue with business as usual. But again, that doesn't mean the sky is falling. They don't tell you how many players are actively playing this game. People assume people aren't playing the game, but that's not supported by anything. It's not. You don't have access to their player base numbers. You don't. And until they share insights about it, that's all you have. So if a developer says, hey, we've seen a massive drop in players, that's validation for the claims. If they're saying, oh, we've actually seen an upsurge in players coming to the game, that goes against everything that everybody who's been saying the player base is dying has been saying. Craig, what's up, bro? How you feeling, man? Happy Friday to you too, bro. And what's up, Captain? Nephew in the chat. How do you get higher power level with Jane Foster? Cecilia, I told you. You have to either play through the event objectives that come every other week, or you can play the Discord and Sound raid in Wakanda, or you can play the Family Reunion Omega level threat mission in Utah. Completing those missions and objectives will give you higher level gear with Jane Foster and any other hero you complete them with. I always felt like people were overly critical of this game. And that, like I said, that's fair. It's the internet. People are going to criticize everything. People are going to criticize, everyone. That's literally how social media and the internet operates. But I just tend to operate more off, objective information and factual information. So I don't like to make a lot of assumptions. And if I'm speculating about something, I like to make that clear so that you understand this is solely my thoughts and opinions. And if there's nothing to support that, I will state that as well. If there is something to support it, I'll share it. I'll cite my sources that support what I'm saying and why I believe what I believe. We're not shutting down the deal game. Not today. Not today, and not anytime soon, I don't believe. The spokesperson did say that they don't anticipate any issue acquiring the license in place of Square Enix. Exactly. It's not that deep. It's honestly not that deep. But again, I get it. People, you want that narrative, and that's what trends. And so me saying that the deal is fine is nowhere near as exciting as me saying, oh well, is the game dying, or is the game dying in the thumbnail and stuff like that. That's not exciting. That's not what's getting people clicks, and I get it, but that's not what this channel is about. That's not the type of person I am. That's not what I'm about. So no, I'm not going to sell you guys a scenario, and because there are people who really, really enjoy this game. There are people who are just now coming across this game and they're being met with so much negativity around it because people are jaded, people are bitter, people are like, oh, this game was never what I wanted it to be. And you kind of tainting their experience, and you kind of shitting on them for being excited about the game. Like, it's nothing wrong with people who just came to this game being excited. They get a new experience that you didn't get in 2020. I'm not bitter about that. I'm glad people are enjoying the game because it's a better game now than it was in 2020. So of course your experience with this game is going to be a lot better than mine in 2020. Even though my experience with the game was never as bad as some of the people who were sharing bugs and things like that. I never was falling through the floor. I never was playing with black balls over the screen. I wasn't having graphical issues, any of that. And to be fair, you don't really get introduced to any of that until you start playing with the multiplayer content. So if you're playing strictly as a single player, this game runs perfectly anyway. And even then, when you run in multiplayer content, you don't necessarily have to deal with a lot of just game breaking bugs and stuff like that. That's not the same across the board. That's not everyone's experience. That depends on your networking issues. That depends on the platform you're playing on. That there's a lot of variables with that. But again, people are having a better experience now than they were 2 years ago. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually a good thing for the game and a good thing for those players specifically, because nobody wants to come into a game and have a bad time. Nobody wants to come into a game and have a bad experience. This game isn't really meant to play alone, though. Aspects of it are, and that was a problem. Negative news always leads. I believe this game will move forward in a positive way under better leadership. Exactly. That's all I'm saying. They have better leadership than they had before, and now they have a better publisher behind the game and the leadership than you had before. All my Bucky videos have your eye itching to see at least a character model. You kind of got a glimpse of the character model in the in his image that was revealed. Let me see. I'll show you guys that again. Let me dig for it. 1 second. Yeah, you get a pretty good glimpse of him right here. So as you can see, his face is in shadow, but you can see him. You can see some details. He's gonna have long hair. He's gonna have that rifle. You can see the rifle and everything. They got some details, displayed for him. But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I'm glad we actually brought this up. You have a new hero in the pipeline. You have new content in the pipeline. And if you enjoy the game, just enjoy the game. Don't worry about being called the shield for this game or a defender for this game. That's just internet negativity. That's all it is. I don't get paid, to shield for this game. Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix, Embracer Group, Marvel. Nobody sends me a check for telling you this game isn't dying. I don't have any stake in that. There's no incentive for me to tell you the game isn't dying. If the game is dying, my video would probably do better and bigger because I'm telling you the game is dead, because that's what people want to see. So it's like I don't know what else to tell you guys on that front. It's like the game is the game. It's getting better. Bear with the game. Bear with the studio behind the game. Just let them do their thing. You can play the game right now. You can enjoy the game right now. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the game. If you're new to the game, there's nothing wrong with you enjoying this game. I'm glad that you enjoy the game. If you want somewhere to talk about the game in a positive light, you can do it over here. If you got negative opinions of the game, of your experience with the game, you can also do that here. All opinions are welcome. I'm not shutting down anybody's opinion on this game. If you don't like this game, if you think this game dying is going to get you fast tracked to a sequel or another studio doing this game, you are under bad information. You're operating off bad information, or you just do not understand how game development works. Because you will never see another Avengers game anytime soon. If this game shuts down with the public perception being what it is now, you will never see another Avengers game in probably the next 5 to 10 years or longer. And that's just an announcement of an Avengers game. People were overly critical of this game from the day that they saw actual in-game footage of the character models. What's up, DJ? What did you miss? So we got Embracer officially acquiring Crystal Dynamics. Hold on, give me 1 second. So Embracer acquired Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and other assets. And I was breaking it down for people that not seeing Avengers listed amongst these games that they acquired or the IPs that they acquired is not a bad thing, because Avengers was never for sale. That's the part that people need to make emphasis of, because that's something that's very important. It's not going to be listed here because it has nothing to do with this. That's like looking here for, any other game that they have license to that's not being sold. You get what I'm saying? A license is not ownership of a game. I can sell you a license to my bottle of water that allows you to use it, maybe even sell it, but you can make different versions of this bottle or whatever, but the actual brand, the actual IP, this is mine. So unless I sell you the IP, Marcus with the sub, appreciate that. So unless I sell you that specifically, you don't have the right to do that, and you then can't sell that license to somebody else. That's not how that works. And again, I get it. People aren't that informed with the legality of contracts and things like that. That's fine. That is no knock against you. You can always read up on that or educate yourself on that. But these things are not as confusing as people make them out to be. Does Crystal Dynamics still own Avengers? Crystal Dynamics never owned Avengers. They only had a licensing agreement with Marvel Games to produce a Marvel's Avengers game. So Square Enix, the company that originally owned Crystal Dynamics, had a licensing agreement with Marvel Games to produce 2 Marvel games, one of which was Marvel's Avengers. The other is rumored to be an X-Men game that we have yet to see. But that's all they did. So no ownership of Marvel's Avengers has changed hands. Marvel's Avengers still is owned under Marvel and Marvel Games and Disney. That's it. Basically a dead game, pretty much. This is a zombie game. X-Men game would be dope, exactly. But yeah, guys, it's like just. Again, this isn't bad news, and the lack of Avengers being listed here isn't bad news. Could we still get an official statement from Embracer or Crystal Dynamics or Marvel about a new deal being reached or something like that, or a new form of publishing around the game? Yes. Is that what we got in this? No, because this news isn't about that. This news is strictly about what Embracer Group bought from from Square Enix, and the things that they bought were studios and IPs. None of which were Avengers. So they bought the studio that's working on Avengers, but because Avengers is a licensed IP, they have to go into a separate agreement with Marvel Studios that will allow them to further develop and make things for Avengers. That's it. And that's a separate thing. That is a completely different thing than this. It's insane we haven't gotten a solid X-Men game after X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past. It's because during that time, Marvel didn't own the rights to X-Men, and they were trying to essentially tank the IP, which is why they were pushing the Inhumans. Like you had the Inhumans versus the X-Men in the comics for a while and things like that. And they felt like if they hurt the brand enough, that would incentivize Fox to go ahead and let the rights go and let the rights revert back to Marvel, which ultimately Disney just bought Fox Studios in general and got the IP that way. And now they're trying to build the brand back up a little bit. So you're seeing, a reemerge of Fantastic Four comics and X-Men comics because Marvel is effectively trying to rebrand and build up the brand of X-Men. Embrace about to make a new Marvel deal that doesn't include Avengers. Hey, get it in. Get it in. What do you think Bucky's default look will be like? I can show you right here. This is what I'm pretty sure is going to be his iconic skin. Does anyone remember when they said something about making a shared game universe for Marvel? I'm still hopeful that'll happen. Um, I feel like Avengers would have been the best, way to go about doing something like that. But because like the Spider-Man games, they simply tease that other heroes and other groups are a thing. So you got teasers for Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist, the Avengers. You have teasers, but you don't actually have in-game, in-universe, you know, confirmation or visuals of them. You can't play with these characters. You don't interact with these characters. They just exist, and people want more than that. And this game is what's offering people the ability to do something more than what you were able to do prior to this. Like the Ultimate Alliance games are dope. I never played Ultimate Alliance 3, but it's dope. Yeah, that Marvel MMO from Daybreak, that honestly that was a good thing that they got canceled, because looking at the designs and everything is like I don't trust the vision for that. I I think the right decision was made, and I think unless they change the narrative around that Black Panther game, that's probably going to get canceled too, because that create your own Black Panther stuff, that sounds kind of dumb. That sounds pretty dumb. Um, I love DCU, so I was kind of hyped for the Marvel MMO. Yeah, a lot of people are excited for something like that because they want that Marvel Heroes experience again. And Marvel Heroes definitely let a lot of people down in the end, but hey, yeah, that game was definitely going to be dog water, bro. Like you listened to, well, you covered it. you covered the game, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, yeah, it's like I just didn't have confidence in that. And as you can see, Marvel is pretty loose with the licensing. They're giving people license. That stuff can fall through, but as far as giving people the ability to start projects and stuff, they're not that tight about that. They're not scrutinizing and critical about what these people's vision is or anything like that. It's not hard to if you got the money, you can get a license and agreement with Marvel basically. They should have vehicles added as enemies like tanks and jeeps. Yeah, and they should definitely let Hulk throw them around and let Thor flip them around. Ultimate Alliance 3 was fun as hell. Liked Ultimate Alliance, still my favorite. Yeah, I got both the original Ultimate Alliance games on PS5. I may play them on stream. I was talking about that not too long ago. But yeah, it's like you got a lot of dope, you know, Marvel IPs, a lot of Marvel properties out there that, especially with the MCU being as big as it is like that opens the door for a lot of stuff. A lot. And like I said, hopefully we get to see some of that in the future. I got 5 on trying to get a Marvel license. Hey, I got 15 on it. Everybody in chat put in, and we'll go talk to Marvel. Get Marvel done right. Get that Moon Knight Ghost Rider crossover everybody need. Ultimate Alliance 3 underrated. Yeah, I just never got a Switch. I may still get one, but it's like I was never, well, I was super busy around the time anyway, so I wasn't doing a lot of gaming anyway. Will Bucky have a half mask on the iconic? Doesn't look like it. So if we blow this up a bit, you can see that it looks like he's gonna have face paint, but it doesn't look like he's gonna have a mask on. I'm sure he'll have different skins though. Exactly. He's definitely gonna have a skin with a mask on it, and you'll definitely get the Winter Soldier MCU movie skin. I can see Thor using his God Blast and having vehicles for it. Exactly, but they can. That's what I'm saying. Like they can improve, and if you talk to the developers and they respond a bit, you can there a lot of things are possible. Like It's just about being able to allocate time and resources towards doing those things. That's really all it comes down to. So time and resources. So crossplay is possible. It just comes down to time and resources. Join in progress. They told you it was possible. It just came down to time and resources, which magically they found time and resources after being bought out by Embracer. So again, all I'm saying is this deal is a good thing, and the lack of Avengers news specifically in this news is not a bad thing in the slightest. I think I saw one of your videos where it was an older game with him and he had on half mask. Yeah, you probably talking about Marvel Heroes. Bucky has a lot of looks from both the comics and the movies, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna see a lot of them come to the game. Well, if they do his MCU skin, he might in the future. Exactly. I wanted a game like Avengers, keyword like, but with DC characters because I prefer DC over Marvel, but I like both either way. Yeah, DC definitely. I think they've been going too hard on trying to make their villains heroes. I think it's time to dial it back on that and show your heroes in a more positive light because they've been going way too hard on the evil Superman stuff. They oversaturated the market with Batman. People like Green Lantern and Flash don't even get spotlighted. It's like DC got to get a lot of things in order over there, but when it comes to gaming, they definitely need a positive Justice League game that shows the Justice League in a heroic light, because the next game coming out for the Justice League is Suicide Squad, and that's going to have the villains as the heroes of the game fighting the Justice League. So yeah, DC has a hero problem. I like Marvel movies more though. Yeah, I don't think you have much of a choice there. And the DC movies have been pretty bad from the jump. Marvel Heroes RIP. Yep. But let me see what time. It's 12:40. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Like I said, I just popped right up and got this news out to you guys. I'm gonna get something to eat, and we will be back later today with another Marvel's Avengers campaign playthrough stream. So make sure you guys have on notifications for that. Again, appreciate you guys for coming through as always. If you haven't already, leave a like on the stream to help the channel out. Thank everybody who became a member. Thank everybody who subbed to the channel today. And we will be back later today. So catch you guys.